Hi, I'm so excited to share today that my brain MRI shows no metastases. Hallelujah. If you're in the cancer world, you know about brain metastases. Oh goodness, that's once that happens, it can be a pretty quick end to life. And I was really concerned and am so relieved that it's not that. So I still need to figure out what these daily headaches are. I've been having headaches every day for like 7 weeks now, but it's not cancer, so I can deal with them. There was something else that showed up on my brain MRI, which I will get to in a moment. But before I do, I just want to encourage you to watch this video the whole way through. I really do think that you watching this, if you have a cancer diagnosis, can prolong your life or save your life. And I'm so excited to bring you this information. Share with a friend or save it so you can share with a friend at a later point. I hope that it is invaluable to you, as invaluable to you as it has been to me. So I have a stage 4 breast cancer diagnosis. At one point, I had spread to skin, liver, lymph nodes, 14 areas in my bones, potentially ovaries and uterus. It wasn't biopsied, but it looked that way on the scan. Today, my scans have been clear for the last about a year and 9 months. I would say I'm NED, no evidence of disease, but I do have a tumor area over top of my breast implant where I can see that it is growing a tiny bit. It used to be really big and really painful. Well, to me, this is really big and really painful. Then it shrunk completely, and now I feel a couple little rice grain size bumps on them. So pretty close to NED. So I'd love to share with you what I think has been instrumental for me getting to that place. I don't know if this is what it was or not. I tried a lot of different things, and there's no real way for me to know which ones worked or not. I have two theories of what worked, and they kind of contradict each other. So I hope I'm able to explain myself well enough. The first thing that I think has helped me, and please don't take this as medical advice. In fact, it probably kills some people who do this. And that's been delaying and slowing treatment. So don't do it unless it's exactly what you want to do. I was hesitant of the side effects. I was afraid, and I wanted to give myself time to read and learn and figure out what was the best path for me and feel like I felt comfortable with the decisions I was making. On the one hand, I didn't delay some things. I had a biopsy right away, which in hindsight, I wish I hadn't had. You learn more about that in my previous video, talked about it for a bit. But I had a double mastectomy pretty much right away. Only one of my breasts was impacted, but I had a double mastectomy just to reduce the chances of it coming back in the other breast. It was not recommended by my doctor, but it was recommended by some family members who had dealt with breast cancer. So that's what I did. Also, don't know that I recommend a double if it's only one breast. Tamoxifen was recommended for me. I tried it just for a really little bit, felt awful on it, and then didn't try it again. I saw my metastases come back in my skin 8 months after my original diagnosis, and I prolonged treatment again because I didn't want the side effects, and I tried things on my own, the natural way, and things kept growing. And I didn't really have a mentor or a coach to help me with it, so I did the best I could, but I wasn't perfect with it, and it didn't, whatever I was doing wasn't working for me. I got to the point where I had a bunch of metastases. I decided to, at that point, try Zoladex instead of tamoxifen. They both help with estrogen positive breast cancers, but they work in different ways. I won't get into that here. I've talked about that in previous videos a bit. Anyway, by the time I tried Zoladex, I was also trying blocking a bunch of pathways with Jane McLelland's protocol from her book, How to Starve Cancer and Then Kill It with Ferroptosis. And then my tumors melted away and I got a clear scan, my very next scan after I started the Zoladex and a bunch of her protocol. And then I've had clear scans since. And oh, I know it's stage 4. There's no cure. At this point, I've had stage 4 for 4 years, cancer diagnosis for 5 years. And I don't know. I don't know how long the clear scans will last. I've got a few things in my arsenal to keep my body sensitive to the Zoladex, which it is receiving. I may actually have my ovaries removed in July. I'm not sure yet. Anyway, ways to keep your body sensitized to the lack of estrogen. All right. So anyway, the point of the video is not that story. The point of the video is to talk to you about what I think helped me. So one was delaying some conventional treatments, which I don't recommend you do unless you're clear about what you're doing. One of the reasons I think that has helped me, this is just anecdotal, I've made a lot of friends and acquaintances along the way that also have cancer, and I've seen all but one die. And many of them were doing better than me when they started, and they threw everything at it. Well, not everything, but all the conventional things, and did a lot of heavy chemos. And I think that burns the candle on both ends. My mom died her very first round of chemo. Again, this is anecdotal. For some people, it works great and it gives them the best chance. But I think for others, especially once it's stage 4, the cancers learn how to evade whatever treatment is happening. So it's here's the cancer, it's getting treatment, and it's like, I don't like this, I need to figure out a way to survive. And so it gets smart and figures it out until this treatment no longer works on this cancer. And so I wonder if delaying treatment and doing the ups and downs, because I didn't do any of my protocols or treatments perfectly, never gave the cancer a chance to change and outsmart the treatments. And so it's still like a dumb cancer and susceptible to things that I do to it. I had read some research of someone in California who is treating people with testicular cancer or prostate cancer. I don't remember. And he only gives them chemo when the cancer gets to a certain point, and then just 1 or 2 rounds, just a little bit to knock it back down, and then wait until it grows again and knock it back down. And he's having success in the form of being able to just lightly treat patients until they die from other causes, which is amazing. And I know that's different. It's a different cancer, different pathology, different outcomes, different expected outcomes. So it's just a theory that I'm kind of working with right now, that potentially delaying treatments until you need them might actually prolong your life. I don't know. I'm not recommending this. This is what I'm doing with my life, since there's no known cure right now. It's kind of like, if I do what's recommended, what's been researched, what's available in conventional oncology, I know my odds, I'm going to die. That's what it says. And it kind of tells you when. There's a 5-year survival rate. So the 5-year survival rate for metastatic breast cancer used to be 22%. It's now up to 37%, which is amazing. I'm so happy for the scientific discoveries that have extended people's lives. And most of the people who survive longer than that have bone-only metastases. Once it's in your organs, your chance for survival goes way down. I know that's what's available to me. I'm already 5 years into my cancer diagnosis, 4 years into my stage 4 diagnosis, and I've had metastases to my organs. So I'm doing pretty well for conventional oncological outcomes. So I'm trying my own way, because what do I have to lose? My life. But if I take this way, I'll definitely lose my life. And so I guess I just want to try. I want to try. Why not try? I'll start with this book. I do not remember how this book came into my life now, but I'm so grateful to however it did come into my life, because I think it's played an instrumental role for me. How to Starve Cancer and Then Kill It with Ferroptosis, Jane McLelland. Her first book is How to Starve Cancer Without Starving Yourself. Her second book added the ferroptosis part. It's a dense read. There is a lot of science to it, and I highly recommend it. And if you can't understand it, I highly recommend that you join groups or find someone who does understand it and can help you with it. I will read one of the acknowledgements in the front, because I think it does a good job of summarizing what this book does. It is by Susan Allison, who's an RN. And she says, anyone who's taking supplements or off-label drugs and/or cannabis is blocking metabolic pathways of cancer, whether wittingly or unwittingly. The question is, are the correct pathways being blocked using the correct supplements or medication? Jane's book and online video course explain the science behind what she discovered, as well as what, where, and when of figuring out which pathways to target. Prior to Jane's published research, I think people had some hit or miss luck with certain supplements and medications without knowing they were blocking pathways or why exactly. Jane's book organizes and explains the methodology behind a great deal of what I like to refer to as the metabolic cancer movement. She has saved her own life several times over and is clearly a fighter and an advocate. She's found on YouTube and featured in episodes of Radical Remission, for example. As an RN and an avid clinical researcher, I regard her book and course as foundational to anyone affected by cancer, regardless of the treatment path that is chosen. I recommend her book and course to everyone. So do I. When I was trying all natural, this book came into my hands, and it's what convinced me to add on the estrogen suppression that melted my tumors away really quickly, guys. Like within 3 weeks, there was a noticeable difference in the tumors that I could see on my body. The other part I want to read is just her introduction to give you a clearer understanding of why you should listen to her. And so here goes. I was supposed to die. That's what my doctors expected in 1999 when they broke the news that my cervical cancer had spread to my lungs. It was stage 4. There is no stage 5. The statistics gave me approximately 12 weeks to live. Few things are as motivating as the specter of certain and imminent death. No way I was ready to shuffle off this planet. I was young, only 35 years old. I was in love. I desperately wanted to have children. I had professional ambitions. I could not accept that there was no treatment other than conventional chemotherapy and radiation, which would lead to death in 12 weeks. I refused to believe I had no future. Determined to find a cure, I threw myself into research. I was sure that the medical profession was missing something. As a chartered physiotherapist, I had a scientific background that enabled me to dig up and assimilate information quickly. Cancer, I realized, behaves just like a parasite. The cancer cells in my body were stealing nutrients, blood, and immunity from me and using them as weapons against me. Parasites thrive and reproduce unabated until they either exhaust their food source or kill their host. With cancer, it's usually the latter. But how could I starve cancer of these nutrients without starving myself? This was the question I set out to answer, using myself as a guinea pig. To my knowledge, no one had done this before. No one had yet come up with a constellation of therapies using safe old drugs and natural compounds that would attack the abnormal cancer metabolism as well as its genetics, i.e., attack the cells from every direction. Cancer, I have learned, has several food sources: glucose, glutamine, fatty acids, and ketones. It also uses saturated fats to travel around the body. I knew I would have to starve my cancer cells of all of these if I were to kill them off, especially at an advanced stage of disease. I would need a large arsenal of weapons, but they would have to do minimal harm to me. I began a cancer-starving diet, eliminating sugar and other foods that cancer loves to feed on. When that was not enough, I added powerful supplements. Ultimately, it was a combination of common old drugs, uncommonly used, the diet and supplements that forced my cancer to melt away. When I used all of these weapons together, they worked synergistically and their anti-cancer effects were heightened. Boom, my cancer slunk off into remission. Since 2004, it has not come back. She is still alive and well. This was just such an inspiration to me. And I thought if she could do it, I can do it too. And she has empowered us to know how, to learn how. Please, please tell anyone you know that has cancer about this book. You can find it on Amazon, How to Starve Cancer and Then Kill It with Ferroptosis, Jane McLelland, updated and revised 2nd edition. She's put in so much work and effort into this book. Please get it. Please support her work. Please join her Facebook group. I want to show you that right now. She's got a Facebook group which is free to join. And then she's got one that you can join after you have purchased her online course. So Jane McLlelend, Off-Label Drugs for Cancer. I highly recommend joining. In here, you can find other people's protocol, other people with your type of cancer and what they're using, because it is complex. Cancers are so complex. They're all different from each other and they all require different pathways blocked. And if you join this group, you can search your type of cancer and protocol with the word protocol, and you'll come up with other people who are using her methods and what they're doing and how they're doing. So back to my point earlier where I said there were 2 things I thought really helped me. One was delaying treatment and the other was throwing everything at it. And I know that kind of is like, wait, what? In the first part you said that you didn't, and that was part of your survival strategy for keeping the cancer dumb and not working its way around. Yeah, and the second strategy of throwing everything at it is throwing everything at it in a smart way, seeing what pathways my cancer uses to feed, and then doing my best to block all of those pathways, but in a minimally invasive way so that I'm not burning both ends of the candle at the same rate. And then taking a break so that I can have my life back and giving a chance for the cancer not to work its way around, I guess. I don't know. There's so much. I just can't explain it all thoroughly enough in a video. We need to sit down for like 20 hours. What else does she talk about in her book? The first half is her journey and what she was learning along the way, what she was taking, but not so much of the science. The second half, and then her ups and downs. The second half starts to talk about the nitty gritty of what you need. So she goes through the hallmarks of cancer and what to do about each one. Abnormal cell signaling, abnormal cell metabolism, abnormal growth factors, abnormal immune response, fast cell division. I'm not going to show you the charts because they're copyrighted and I want to respect her and support her work. So please buy her book and her course. Then she talks about how to starve cancer, starving the main 3 ways that they feed. And for the main 3 ways, there are like maybe, I don't know, 20 to 50 other mini ways within those ways, maybe more. And she gives you off-label drugs and supplements and diet and exercise and lifestyle changes and conventional drugs to help you block all of those pathways. She does not give you doses, which is important to note, because then I guess it would be considered medical advice, and she is not giving medical advice. She's just talking, she's just sharing what she learned in this process. But it's very detailed, and you know, it gives you, you really do need to read the whole thing. You can't just take a list of what she recommends, because some things, for instance, that she recommends are not good if you have a hormonal cancer, which I do. And so if I just took everything she recommended, I might be actually making my cancer worse. And there's so many of these little nuances that it's definitely worth reading it for yourself and taking it to an integrative doctor who knows about this to help you figure out what your perfect concoction will be. What else does she share? How to reboot the immune system, again, with supplements and off-label drugs and amazing things to take before and after surgery, keeping your inflammation low and all these kinds of things. How to kill the cancer. So she has a starve phase and a kill phase, and you're supposed to pulse them. So you starve it first, and then when you kill it, you can get it all, is the hope and the theory or the thought. And you're doing less damage to your body because you don't need as much chemo, for instance. She shows charts of how combining different drugs and supplements with chemo give you like over 90% kill rates. Whereas if you don't combine, you only get 30% kill rates. She's got a whole new chapter on ferroptosis, which I'm not yet familiar with. I read it over once and it didn't make a whole lot of sense and it seemed very complex, but I will be reading it again until I understand it. Because it's my life. And so, yeah, so that's the book. A lot of people say it's very challenging to understand. It is. I've read it 3 times, but I'm not a scientist, and I was able to figure out enough to get started and get real results. The other thing I want to show you is her course. So people who say they weren't able to understand her book say that the course was so much better for them and helped them apply what they needed to apply and get the most out of her work. So this is her course. I'm just going to give you a quick sneak peek to the background. And I want to just tell you up front that I am an affiliate for her course. So if you do end up purchasing her course, which I highly recommend, I will get a small fraction of the cost of the course. It won't cost you anything extra. It doesn't add a charge to you. It's the same price whether you buy it through my affiliate link or through her webpage. So please consider purchasing it from me. Your support means so much to me. And thank you. So here is the course curriculum: an introduction to starving cancer, understanding the basics. And at the end, she's got a testimony from people with different types of cancers at the end of every module. The hallmarks of cancer, normalizing cell signaling, blocking glucose pathways, blocking glutamine pathways, blocking fat pathways, blocking growth factors, the immune system in cancer, the kill phase, diet, exercise, a summary and recommendations. It's invaluable. She helps you get organized. She talks to you about the power of combining drugs. There are some worksheets to help you create your own list. She talks about therapy resistance. This is huge. If you're doing conventional therapy, it usually ends up failing. Well, it always fails if you have stage 4, but you can do things, you can add things to your chemotherapy to keep your cancer cells from growing resistance. Gosh, there's just so much in here. And If you are interested in this course for yourself or for someone you love, please check out my, please consider using my affiliate code in the description below. I'll also leave it in the comment section. Thank you so much. Okay, what else did I want to talk to you about today? It showed no metastases, but what it did show was, so no abnormal intracranial enhancements to suggest intracranial metastatic disease at this time. There is a band of flare, hyperintense gliosis, and diminished volume at the inferior left cerebellum, suggestive of old injury. Maybe this is why I'm having the headaches, I don't know. But when I looked this up, what came up is this white matter hyperintensity. And it's very common in older subjects, which my body acts as if it's older because of the menopause, medically induced menopause that I've been in for the last 2 years. So I don't know if this is a correlation or not. In patients with stroke and dementia, I've been experiencing a considerable cognitive decline. It gets really bad sometimes, guys. I can't even process simple sentences. And then an older MRI showed some evidence of TIAs or mini strokes, probably caused by the frequent migraines. So I don't know if that's what's causing this issue, but it's associated with cognitive impairment, and it triples the risk of stroke and doubles the risk of dementia. So I am going to follow up with someone, a neurologist maybe, to see if there's anything that can be done. I'm going to look into if there are any off-label drugs or supplements. I already know of some that can help with cognition. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for sticking around today. If you have questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Even if I can't answer them, there's such a strong community of people with a lot of knowledge, and hopefully they will chime in and respond. Thank you so much. I love you. Take care.